Good morning. Welcome to the regular monthly meeting of the Greenwich Board of Selectmen. Please rise and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Play ball.
Play ball.
This is a public meeting of the Greenwich Board of Selectmen. It is not a public hearing. The chair reserves the right to call upon any interested attendee to pose a question or make comment on any matter that is before the board today. There are copies of our meeting agenda on the table when you come into the meeting room. I'd like to begin today's meeting by introducing one of Greenwich High School's finest students, soon to be graduating, intern in the Greenwich Selectmen's office, Rintaro Inoue. Welcome, Rintaro.
Welcome,
Rintaro has been assisting us with some preparations of documents for the operational plans, creating templates for all the various departments that go into the formulation of the required operational plans that are part of the budget development process. He was also extremely helpful to me in hosting about 30 third graders from the Greenwich Japanese School who were here, was it last week?
Yes.
Last week, and was able to help translate for them. So I want to thank you. And he is also now working on a rather impromptu project, and that is several of the town's managers, about 20, are undertaking a training program called Six Sigma Lean, which is to develop process improvements for the organization. And one of the things that he is doing is surveying the people who come to town hall to determine which departments they're going to. One of the thoughts in this project that's being developed by the team that I'm on is if we could make information available to people as you come into the building, that would reduce the amount of traffic that goes into the departments, taking up staff time that are working other things. So we'll see what we find out, but he's basically asking people, you know, welcome to town hall, which department or what are you here to do today, so we could assess that. So welcome, and
Welcome. Good luck.
look forward to having you on board. And there's another meeting, I think, before you graduate. So we'd love to have you come sit up here for that meeting. I mean, I know you're doing this assignment today. The next item on the agenda is to approve the minutes from the regular meeting on May 12th. And I did review the minutes. There were some modifications, minor modifications on page 2, under F, just the font, it changed there, the first sentence. Under J, both myself and Selectman Toner attended the National Day of Prayer. Under K, just changing the tense. Page 3, under S, inserting the word under 1, 2, 3, 4, fifth line, after reduced cost, comma, it was not surprising. Page 4, nothing. Page 5, under appointments and nominations, just making sure that each of them read move the nomination, under C, D, E, and F. And then under the last line, instead of appointments, it should read nominations. And that concludes the changes to those sets. Is there a motion to approve these minutes as amended?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, without objection. Barb, so she could see those. The second set of minutes for May 20th, special meeting, similar adjustments, move the nomination of in lieu of made the motion to appoint for both A and B. Is there a motion to approve those minutes as amended?
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Toner, seconded by Mr. Marzullo. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you very much, Barb. Okay. Item number 3, updates. Just to begin today's meeting, we are a number of events taking place over the course of the Memorial Day weekend, and I just wanted to quickly review them for those listening at home who perhaps have an interest in it coming out and paying respect to those who gave so much to our country. So the first event is on Saturday, May 28th, and it's hosted by the COSCOB Veterans of Foreign Wars, and it's their ceremony at 10 a.m. at the memorial across from the Bush Holly House. So this is on Strickland Road, and it is across from the Bush Holly on the same side of the street as the COSCOB Marina and the parking lot. On Sunday, May 29th, the Byram Veterans Association are hosting their annual parade beginning at 2 p.m. at the Byram Vets on Delavan Avenue is the start off for that. On Sunday as well, the Glenville Fire Department is hosting a parade and memorial service beginning at 5. Those participating must be there at 4:30. This kicks off at Walker Court and proceeds down Glenville Street to the Glenville Green for the memorial service. On Monday, May 30th, the Indian Harbor Yacht Club, in conjunction with American Legion Post 29, is holding their annual Dockside Memorial Day service beginning promptly at 8 a.m. And this is a very solemn event for which the public is invited. Then we proceed over to Old Greenwich for the Sound Beach Volunteer Fire Department parade. Participants must be in the lineup by 9:30. The parade kicks off at 10 a.m. and it proceeds down Sound Beach Avenue. I believe the lineup area is at Shoreacre in the vicinity of St. Cecilia's Church. So that parade goes from 10 till about 11:30, and then there's a service in Binney Park for those who wish to remain and observe that memorial. And then finally, on Monday at about 1 p.m., there is a ceremony at the Hamilton Avenue School by the Chickahominy Neighborhood Association, and that service is to honor all those who made the ultimate sacrifice who were from that area of Greenwich. So those are the festivities this weekend.
You missed one. The Jim Fix race is on Monday, starting at 8:30 at Betteridge.
Great. Well, John is going to be
Yeah, will you be running, John?
representing.
Yeah, right? In a wheelchair.
He's going to be representing the board at that. I know, are you going to?
Yeah.
That's one of the things, it's hard to be in two places, but Drew is working on Monday, so he'll be on the ambulance just in case, so the selectmen will be well represented.
Yeah, just keep an eye on it.
Thank you, Drew, for being there. We'll march a little bit more aggressively. Okay, so that completes Monday's calendar of events, or the weekend's events. In terms of other updates, on May 14th, I attended a memorial service for the late Frank Keegan, the former director of Greenwich Parks and Recreation, who passed away on January 27th. This was held at the Eastern Greenwich Civic Center and was organized by his daughter, Kim, and as well as his family members. Former police chief Tom Keegan, his brother, who lives down in South Carolina, was in attendance, as was his nephew, Tommy Keegan, also known as TK, and several other of his family, his sisters, his nieces, and a nephew were all there. It was titled Frankly Speaking, and it was really a opportunity for friends, family to express sentiments about Frank and his legacy to the town. He really was the primary force in creating the Department of Parks and Recreation that we have today. His tenure really began in the late 60s as a member of the department, and then ascended to director in the combined Parks and Recreation Department, and he served until 1995. and we certainly continue to express our condolences to his wife, Marie, and his family, but what a rich legacy he's left, and I believe at some point in the near future, there'll be an opportunity to have a permanent memorial to his service to Greenwich. The commissionings for the various boat and yacht clubs have kicked off. The Greenwich Boat Club was held on May 14th. On May 15th, Sunday, here at Town Hall, there was the annual Israeli Independence Day celebration. I was in attendance with Senator Blumenthal and Congressman Himes, and the organizers being the UJA of Greenwich. There was also the Riverside Yacht Club commissioning. Unfortunately, I was not able to attend. I don't know if either of you attended. I was not able to attend. On May 16th, the First Selectmen's Community Diversity Advisory Committee held its awards ceremony for the 7th Annual Diversity Essay Contest at Greenwich Library. There were several winners. Honorable mention went to Julia Pogge from Convent of the Sacred Heart, Elizabeth Murray, 11th grade Greenwich High, Natalie Lillian, 11th grade Greenwich High. Third place finalist, Sanju Satish, 11th grade Greenwich High. Second place, William Yin, 11th grade Greenwich High. And first place, Rahul Submaranian, 9th grade Greenwich High School, first place. We were thankful to the judges for this was John Brunig, editorial page editor of the Advocate Greenwich Time, Shelley Carlin, writing teacher, Connie Nerea, and Margaret Walsh from the Greenwich Library, librarian. There was another organizational meeting with representatives of various veterans groups. This has been something that has been discussed for some time, but putting together a Veterans Service Council to coordinate not only the ceremonial activities, but be an ombudsman for issues that may come up in our community with veterans who need some guidance on where to go to get support. I do want to thank my executive assistant, Barbara Hines, for attending all these meetings and working with the participants, namely Irv Porter, Peter LeBeau, and Representative Livy Florin, as well as many others who are coordinating all these efforts. And I believe we issued a press release on that that's made it out into the public. I also met with representatives of Shatterproof, which is an organization that supports families coping with the effects and impacts of drug addiction. They are looking to expand their efforts in Greenwich and are planning a community event in the fall. I met with Mr. Howard Finkelstein, and he's someone who has been an integral part of that group's establishment. This is very timely, as a lot of discussion is taking place nationally, as well as at the state, region, and locally on how we can combat the addictions to opioids and the insidious impact it has on our young people and society at large. On the 17th of May, there was the 6th Annual Public Works Day, which was held as part of National Public Works Week. It was conducted during lunch break, and employees were able to enjoy a cookout at Coscott Park during that 2-hour window in which they were able to drop in. The Chamber of Commerce held its annual awards luncheon honoring local business, community volunteers, as well as Greenwich Police, Fire, and EMS. Just to read those who were recognized, we had Jenny Bixby, who received the R. Michael Dunn Quality of Life Award. She's our Youth Service Director. Chuck Hilton received the Corporate Leadership Award, which is notable because he was the designer of the 9/11 Memorial at Coscott Park. This year, there was the first Harry Kalishan Small Business Award. For those who knew Harry Kalishan, he was a pioneer of small business who grew a small business really into a very well-regarded and expansive real estate portfolio. He awarded, or his daughter, Alyssa, spoke very poignantly about him and his values, the first award went to Rudy's Executive Transportation Service. Rudy's has been in business in Greenwich, I believe, for close to 60 years. The Nonprofit Leadership Award went to Wendy Blumenthal and Lori Jackson for their work on the Greenwich United Way Needs Assessment. The Malcolm S. Prey Excellence in Business Award was granted to the Greenwich Sentinel. And the Police Officer of the Year Award was given to Carlos Franco, who is the Greenwich High School School Resource Officer. The EMT of the Year Awards went to James Anderson, who's a paramedic in Craig Staffelt. And last, certainly but not least, the Firefighter of the Year Award went to Whitney Welch, our very own Whitney, who has demonstrated tremendous amount of community give back in terms of her work with young people and teaching them to swim, as well as her training of Bernese mountain dogs as therapy dogs, in addition to her being the first female career firefighter in the town of Greenwich. So pay tribute to all these people, because underlying this recognition is the fact that what makes Greenwich strong is our people, and these people represent organizations that provide tremendous life service to Greenwich. So kudos to them. There was also a Girl Scout recognition dinner. We recognized the young women who received their gold, silver, and bronze awards. They're graduating seniors. There were several who did gold award projects. Corinne Sella, Sophia Ferraro, Annabelle Lind. The silver award recipients were Haley Breisblatt and Maggie Walsh, Emily Eller, Gabrielle Finn, Eliza Stanley, Sabrina Stanley, and then Troop 5941 received their bronze award. So we want to congratulate all those young women for their commitment to the community. We met last week, last Wednesday, to commemorate the dedication of the Benny Benvenuto Field at Cosca Park to honor the Greenwich former state rep and senator who was responsible for the purchase. And I want to give kudos to Fred Camillo for his effort in getting this recognition, well-deserved recognition, accomplished. It was very appropriate and well-received. On Sunday, the First Selectmen's Economic Advisory Committee hosted its second community forum with Larry Kudlow moderating. The panel discussion consisted of Scott France, Carol Platt-LeBeau, and David Burke. David Burke is Vice President of the Connecticut Hedge Fund Association. Carol Platt-LeBeau is with the Yankee Institute, and Scott France is our 36th Senate District Senator. And the whole discussion really centered upon how to best overcome the economic tsunami that has faced Connecticut. And I think underlying the message was that, you know, Larry Kudlow said there's no way that we'll be able to cut our way to prosperity, meaning you could cut budgets, but that's not going to
Good for Larry.
generate the turnaround. That's certainly part of it in terms of restructuring costs, but that we really need to grow the economy in Greenwich, in Connecticut. And certainly areas that are urban need to be given incentives, whether it be, you know, tax-free zones. But he's
Always like that, Larry.
he's a true supply-sider. He is a former undersecretary in the Reagan administration, worked closely with Jack Kemp, and is now, I believe, giving advice to Donald Trump. So Larry's
Good for him. He's going up.
Larry's from Reading, and was pleased to have him, and I thank Senator France for his hospitality.
Sorry, he didn't run for senator.
Who knows?
Finally, moving right along, May 23rd,
Moving right along.
we had a proclamation for Safe Boating Week, which was presented to the representatives of the Greenwich Sail and Power Squadron, on which we will also be presenting a boating, which was also hosting a boating safety course on June 11th. So a lot of activities with the people in Greenwich or for the people of Greenwich over the course of the last several weeks. And finally,
Just in terms of the Federico family extends, they're extremely grateful for the town's support and you and everyone doing what they can to help. But they sent a compliment to you and what the town's doing, and everyone just want to extend that to you.
Oh, great. So
Yeah.
we continue to remember the Fedorcos and their
Very grateful.
courageous effort to memorialize their daughter through proactive safety, and M's Way is a great organization.
And they're extremely grateful to you.
Finally, I was working closely with the Harbor Commission Chair, Mr. Angelello, and sent this letter to Tanya Smelsky from the Connecticut Department of Energy Environmental Protection, and it is in support of the above-referenced maintenance dredging project planned by the U.S. Army Corps at the request of the town of Greenwich. This project, with funding by the state through the Department of Transportation, will restore the Mianus River Federal Navigation Channel to its congressionally authorized depth. The town, acting through the First Selectman's Office, Harbor Management Commission, Department of Parks and Recreation, other agencies, has been working cooperatively with the Corps of Engineers and Department of Transportation for a number of years to achieve this much-needed project to support continued safe navigation and the viability of water-dependent businesses and recreational boating facilities. It is my understanding that the Corps of Engineers has conducted extensive investigations to demonstrate that the project will have no significantly adverse environmental impacts. In conclusion, I strongly endorse the planned dredging project and urge the most timely approval of the Corps of Engineers dredging application by the Office of Long Island Sound Programs so that this project may be conducted with the available funding during fiscal year 17, beginning October 1, 2016. So we know that this has been probably over a decade in process. I know certainly since I've taken office, we have been working toward this with a host of people, all with the underlying goal of keeping the viability of that Mianus River Channel open. And so hopefully now, with the Office of Long Island Sound Programs approvals, they can make that happen in the fall. That concludes updates. Moving right along to the other business on our agenda today, we have before us under old business, item number 4, a adoption of the preservation restriction agreement between the town of Greenwich and the state of Connecticut State Historical Preservation Office regarding the old barn at Greenwich Point Park. Simply put, the Greenwich Point Conservancy, working with the town, has proceeded with the restoration of this building, now named the Sue Baker Pavilion. They sought this funding within the confines of receiving the funding. There is a requirement you place an easement on the property. There was some concerns with the initial language that was included in this preservation restriction agreement, and the legal department worked very closely with the representative town meetings, legislative and rules committee to come up with more appropriate and satisfactory language that should allow us to proceed in the conservancy to receive the funds and not encumber our asset. So I don't know if we anticipated any further discussion from the legal department, or they just asked us to vote on what we had already voted on this in its original form. So at this time, I would seek a motion to approve what is a revised resolution of declaration of preservation restriction for this.
What was the problem with the RTM Act?
The language contained in the initial agreement referenced the property in terms of the whole park, I believe, and this specifies that it's just the building. I think that was the underlying distinction.
Is it the idea of the camel getting its nose in?
The item's been moved by Mr. Toner.
second that.
It's seconded by Mr. Marzullo. Further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. This is before the RTM at its June meeting, so that's the next step.
It's high school graduation, Peter. Do you know?
Yes.
Is that June?
I have
Do you know high school graduation date?
Okay,
June
it's in June,
20th.
okay.
Thank you. New business, anything under new business? Okay, old business, we've done. Appointments and nominations, I believe we only have
We're doing pretty good.
the following to do. We have one position on Witherell.
Is there a reason that wasn't taken up?
The board chair would like to just talk with the person first. So we still have one for Witherell, one alternate for wetlands, and we have the Historic District Commission really being the only entity that we have several positions to address. So
You have the conservation.
we have Ms. Sheridan, who's seeking renomination. We have a vacancy in the full, and then on the alternates, we have an opening, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have a total of 5 if you take into consideration renominations. So if we could schedule that and get that done, it's not going to happen, it's not going to get on the June call, it would be September. There was, I believe, 12 nominations sent to the RTM, and I know that they're working through them. These are ones we've acted on previously. Is there anything else? Do you want to move any nominations?
I think no,
We just have to get the historic district done.
and we have to do, I think we have to, something about housing too, don't we? Isn't there?
Well, we still have the one fellow who's continuing that, from, I want to say 14.
Oh, who? Who's the guy that was chairman?
George.
Yeah, he's staying on until,
Well, we haven't acted, so if we didn't
What is
act,
your name?
he serves,
but he's okay with staying.
I mean, he
That's good.
wanted,
Oh,
he wanted to
okay.
complete the project that he was
I'm
working
sorry,
on, but,
okay, then forget it. I misunderstood. I thought he was
But we
waiting for us
acted
to
on
appoint
Sam.
someone because he wanted to get off. Never mind.
well, no, so we,
Never mind. It's okay then.
let's see.
I misunderstood.
Well, his term was up in 14. Now, they show him on here as being reappointed. We did not
No,
technically,
and that's why I got,
yeah.
okay.
We just need to make that clear. We did not reappoint.
Okay. Because I was under the impression you were just waiting for us to stay. until
Well,
we
let's
appoint
check
someone.
that.
All
Would you
right.
mind checking that?
Yeah, I'll ask.
Would
Yeah,
you
sure.
ask for us,
Yeah,
please?
sure. Do we have anyone? Well, that's- I
We
don't
will,
think-
yeah.
Okay.
Any other business under appointments and nominations?
That was quick.
Okay, there's one item under executive session, which is an update on pending litigation, which in terms of category is a property issue.
Property. Happy Memorial Day to everybody.
And Ken, thank you for being here today.
Thank you, Ken.
Reporting at its best.
We love it. I move to go into executive session.
At 10:42. Is there a second? Second. Without objection, 10:42.
Thank you. Thank you, Ken.